Hello there, and welcome to the Ultimate Fighting Chat podcast. We're here today to discuss the UFC Fight Night, Gane versus Volkov. That's Ciryl Gane versus Alexander Volkov. It's going to be the prelims first, as usual. Do the main card after. All right.
Yep.
You probably didn't watch the ones that weren't. There were two fights that weren't televised.
Correct.
I did, and you know why.
Well, I'm gonna say one of them is because you like Yancy Medeiros.
Yes.
Is there
Let's
a reason why you want the Rosa versus James fight? Because I've got something to say about that after. But let's start with
yeah, there was a reason that I watched that one, just because it came on after Yancy. That's it.
Okay, all right. So not
All right.
reason.
So while I logged in and had it on, I thought, well, obviously I'm going to watch whatever ain't on telly. Yancy Medeiros versus Damir, the Bosnian bomber, Hadzovic. So you haven't watched this fight, no?
I haven't seen it. No.
It was pretty good. It was going to be though, wasn't it? It's Yancy. Hadzovic, he just seemed a bit bigger, a bit stronger. He tried in the first two rounds to get rid of Medeiros, but as you know, if you don't get rid of him, he ain't going nowhere. Yancy took over in the third with takedowns and submission attempts. As Hadzovic, he was tired. He'd had enough. He tried his best. He spent 2 rounds trying to get rid. And that's why Yancy went, we ain't got rid of me. You're tired now. It's my go. So after a number of choke attempts, Yancy finally got one in, and it was in proper. But the buzzer went. Hadzovic was saved by the bell. Literally. Yancy ran out of time to win that fight. Decision win for Hadzovic. But honestly, I enjoyed it. 2 rounds of Yancy getting mashed, bloke getting tired, Yancy doing a comeback, a choke. Actually, he tried a few chokes, but none of them really got in. And he finally got one sunk in proper in and under the throat. I think he definitely would have tapped. But that's the sport.
Wasn't enough for a 10-8 in the third and final round?
Nah.
Fair enough. So you agree with the 29-28 then?
I do. But it was a good fight, and I'm glad I tuned in for it.
All right.
So I was off to a good start. Then it was Charles Boston Strong Rosa versus Justin the Guitar Hero James. It was another pretty decent fight. Wasn't crap.
Mm.
James,
how did you score the fight? Because it ended up being do you have a feeling? Obviously you haven't scored the fight, just judging by your reaction there. What's your feeling of who you would have given the fight to, just based on watching it casually? Because it was a split.
Rosa.
It was Rosa, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Look, James, he's quite good, but he was just doing full power into everything, just going mad with it. And I think I know why, because he bet his whole purse on himself.
That's what I wanted to, chat to you about.
All right. Okay. Well, hang on then. Right. So you could tell that he was really, really trying, and understandably so. Rosa took it all, though, all the powers. Luckily, he ended up doing a good comeback in round 2 with grappling and submission attempts and whatnot. So I think he definitely got round 2. And it was pretty much the same for round 3, wrestling and grappling from Rosa to get the split decision win. I think Rosa was good. He showed a lot of different skills in this fight, including experience, because he took all the heat and then changed the fight, turned the fight around, went, well, I've got to do something about this. And he did do something about it. But James was good as well. He's definitely a lot of grief. Someone you don't want to have a smash with. He's asshole. He's asshole. But he was a bit too eager. And now we know why, right?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Do you think that betting 25 grand on yourself puts unnecessary pressure on yourself? It can't not, right? Surely after he, let's just say, felt the tide turning in round 2 or what have you, as you say, there's no way that he's not going to get a bit more desperate, a bit more. It can't not be lurking in the back of his mind, surely.
I suppose it depends the way you look at it. It would definitely be lurking in the back of his mind. You could tell by the way he was fighting, the desperation version, which ain't a bad thing, right? Because it makes you get in there and leave it all out there, as they say, I suppose. So maybe he likes that, having that pressure on himself. maybe that makes him fight his best fight. But when you fight your best fight and you still get done,
and then find out basically fought for free. And there was something before. Remember when Conor McGregor said that he liked to spend a lot of his money because he wanted to keep himself hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a sort of, if you like, this is a budget version of that, because obviously McGregor was talking about buying yachts, planes, and all that sort of stuff. And James only was getting, I think, 25k to show, wasn't he? So obviously worlds apart in that regard, but the meaning of that 25k is probably just as valuable to James as the money to McGregor. So
I'm sure it is. That's his bracket, isn't it?
Yeah. And I get that it could also have, it isn't just necessarily negative that, you can start to panic a bit if you feel that it's going against you. It can also perhaps give you that extra little bit of incentive to fight through perhaps a sticky spot, or to perhaps wriggle that little 0.5% harder than you would if you didn't have 25 G's just about go down the U bend. But I would say, as a general rule, probably not a good idea to put that pressure on yourself, positive or negative. It's just forget it.
Down the U bend, or is it up the Swanee or down the Swanee?
Well, that's the Australian version of down the Swanee.
Why is it? Is it not up the Swanee?
No, it's down the Swanee.
It's definitely down the Swanee, is it?
Yeah.
I think I prefer up the Swanee.
Swanee up the creek. Anyway,
up the creek. There you go. Yeah. See. So why is it up the creek and down the Swanee? Well, because one's a creek and one's a Swanee.
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Only he could tell you. Obviously, now he regrets it.
No, he doesn't regret it.
Oh, he doesn't regret it. No.
No, he says he's got a bit of flack from people.
Flack?
It's
No.
a little bit like those people that gave Adesanya grief. So yeah, well, you know what? At least I'm doing something. I'm doing something interesting. No one's reporting.
Up to him?
Yeah, no one's reporting on what you're doing today. I had a dump and ate some cornflakes. No one's reporting on that, right? He's doing something, positive or negative. Obviously, you don't want to be too negative. You don't want to be in the press for, I don't know, anything too negative. But anyway,
no, but the people giving him flack are taking notice and watching what he's doing. Otherwise, they wouldn't be commenting on it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think it made it. Listen, we're talking about the fight now, right? Would we still be talking about it if he didn't?
Weren't even on telly.
If he didn't lose 25 grand down the Swanee or up the creek. So I think it made it a little bit interesting. But it's just a shame to think that he went through that camp and he's got nothing to show, and fought, and he's got nothing to show for it. That's a bit of a shame. But he put himself in that situation.
And he knew that was a possibility. So I'm guessing, worst case scenario, him losing that fight, which did happen, he knew that was a possibility. So I'm sure he made sure that it wasn't his last penny. Well, I don't know that, but that would be sensible, the sensible thing to do, right? And we've said it before about if you've bet on a fight or whatever it is, you're a bit more invested in it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And that's just watching it. So he was definitely more invested. He really tried to win that fight. And let's be honest, he almost did. I just gave it to the other fella because I think he turned the fight into his fight and took it out of Jane's hands. Just went, nah, I'm not doing this. So I've got other ways to make sure that I don't get mashed up so much and that I can win this. And I think he did that enough, but it was close. I wouldn't have been bothered either way.
Maybe he needed 50 grand for a hair transplant.
Why is he not?
He's like me, isn't he?
Is that not an agreed crash shave off? No.
50 G's will get you more than one hair transplant.
Depends where you go and get it done, though, doesn't it?
Nip over Turkey, get it done for a $5.
The next fight this is understandable why they chose this fight to be the first televised one. It makes total sense to me. Julia Raging Panda Avila versus Julia Stoliarenko. It makes sense, doesn't it? This is what you want. You want to kick it off with it. Turn the telly on, rub your hands together, get excited, and then this comes on. Avila, is that her name? Avila?
Yeah, that'll do.
She's the classic 1-2, 1-2, straightforward robot 1-2, 1-2s. And we got a classic Stoliarenko bloody nose. You remember that from the hot tub in the Ultimate Fighter?
Oh, blimey! Is that who she is? She's from the Ultimate Fighter, is she?
Yeah,
I do remember the hot tub bloody nose, but I can't remember why.
Well, she had a fight that day or the day before, whatever. She was sitting in the hot tub having a chat to one of the blokes or whatever, and she was just sitting there, and then all of a sudden it was just started bleeding.
Yeah, well, maybe Avia didn't cause the bloody nose then. Maybe it was just another delayed reaction from the Ultimate Fighter.
There could be some truth in it. Wouldn't be surprised. Now, what did you think of this fight? Have you got stuff to say to this fight? I mean, I've got a few things to say. I want to ask you a question because you know stuff. I wanted to know
I didn't really have anything to say about this fight other than...
Okay, well, I've got a good question for you. I want to know why Avila got kicked out of the gym.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to know that as well.
Oh, for God's sake, this is what you're here for. You're supposed to know these things.
Why am I supposed to know them?
I don't know. It's kind of your thing, isn't it? Anyway, I would like to know that. I did think that was interesting. And in the post-fight interview, she did actually say that herself. And she did a lot of cries in that post-fight interview. And honestly, I liked it. I thought it was good, real and genuine. I quite enjoyed it. I enjoyed that moment, a bit like the Murata moment. I liked it. You know, it was real.
Yeah.
It wasn't fabricated. Yeah, it was quite good, that. That's the best bit of the fight.
She went from hyperventilating and crying to, I'm a bad mother effer, all in about the space of...
Yeah, that did ruin it a bit.
Yeah, it's...
she got her composure back, I suppose. I don't know, but yeah, I did think that, yeah. So why did she get kicked out of the gym? I mean, I'm still waiting.
I'm trying to look up now, so if you carry on talking, you know what I mean? And I'll...
Well, that's easily done. Don't worry about that. Look, I don't want to talk about this fight anymore because I've got no reason to talk about it. Avila won by a rear naked choke in round 3. Got Stolyarenko out of there. And that's it, really. So I can move on to the next fight. And if you do find out, I want you concentrating on what we're talking about, though. I don't want you going off and reading interweb articles. You know what I'm saying? Keep with the program. There's people listening to this. Marvin Prashino versus Ike Hurricane Villanueva. I liked it. I thought this was good. And the reason I like this fight is because, to me, this was like an actual fight. These blokes had a fight. Didn't seem like a sport to me, this one. They just had a fight. It was a bloody brilliant first round. Both amazing powers. I really liked this fight. Pracino, he smashes a left kick to the body, and that was that. Pracino wins by a KO in round 2 from a body kick. I thought it was a brilliant fight. Loved it.
Yeah, it was all right. I'm back now. I read the article and it didn't say why. She just said she got kicked out of her gym and about 80% of the gym left with.
We've tried to take an interest in her. That's what we've tried to do. And if she's not... She put the seed out there.
Yeah, dish the dirt. That's what I was saying. Dirt. Yeah, this fight was... I thought Villanueva was going to win this fight because it just seemed that he was willing to walk through what Prachnio was throwing, and Prachnio was a little bit... There's some real moments where he showed that when he comes under heavy fire, he just turtles up a little bit. And I think if I was his coaches and I was him, I would definitely be looking to work on that. There's nothing wrong with covering up, but when you're looking at the floor, you're not looking at your opponent, you're not looking at where the next shot is potentially coming from. That's when accidents happen. So that needs fixing. But outside of that, I really liked Prachnio. Thought he threw some good kicks. He looked relatively agile, mobile, relatively quick. I thought he was good. He was definitely looked the far more skilled martial artist, if you want to say, out of the two. But it looked like Villanueva was just going to tough him out of it, so to speak.
Yeah.
And he didn't. And those leg kicks, they did have an impact. And then he done the switch, didn't he? I think he switched from, southpaw to orthodox or vice versa. Opened up the kick to the gut. In this case, it was quite a big target. The kick to the gut.
No, I know what you're trying to...
And and there's no chance of breaking your foot on that, sort of mound of flesh. So
I mean, if God's sake.
So he saw the opportunity and he thought, yeah, I'll have a little bit of that. Sunk his foot in, and that was that. And it must have been a good shot because I do think Villanueva, he's a little bit like Rocky Martinez. He does look like no, not the bod. He looks like he'll, to put him away, you've really got to put him away. You've got to stop him.
Oh, yeah.
Properly. And obviously that kick did. So really good from Prachnio. I thought he showed a lot of good things. In that round 1, he showed some real glaring issues with his defence when he comes under heavy fire.
Well, look, I weren't going to discuss the kick specifically, but as you brought it up and the old switching and all that business, but you know, he didn't really switch. He sort of stepped forward, and then it meant that his rear leg was the one, you know, that aimed on the open side. So there's nothing wrong with what he done, but people like Barboza can do that without switching, as in they do what is called a switch kick, you know, and they just switch the leg back temporarily and generate the same amount of power. Absolutely nothing wrong with what he did. I'm not saying it's crap. Some fighters can do the same sort of thing without obviously stepping their right foot forward and then doing it that way. But it was still good. And
calling Bracknell out, are you? Saying he's crap? Saying he's not as good as Barboza? Is that what's happening here?
you just said he all turtles up and he needs fixing.
Oh, we're both in trouble if we ever meet him. We're both going to get
yeah.
But see how
edit
good
this bit out. Well, is that it for that fight? I honestly thought that fight was brilliant.
Yeah, it was a good fight. It was a good scrap between two guys who wanted to win it, and a good even matchup as well. I imagine if those two fellas fought 10 times, I don't think you get the same winner 10 times. Just for that. So it's a good matchup, good everything. Nice one.
Yeah. There you go. There's evidence towards it being a good card. Now, when I said a good card, I wasn't separating it prelims and main card. I'm just saying I like the whole thing. We'll have a look at the prelims after and discuss whether I did like the prelims. But so far, I've liked Medeiros, Yancy Medeiros. I like the Rosa fight. Okay. And I like the Prachnio Villanueva fight. I'm worried about the Stoliarenko one. The next fight then is Wally Alves versus Jeremiah Wells.
Yep.
Wells KO round 2.
You
got anything to say about this? I mean, I got a few bits.
I got a few bits as well. Bit of a bizarre ending, wasn't it? It's sort of kind of, he landed a big, I think it was right hand, kind of folded Wally Alves up a bit, but he fell backwards. So like with his back showing towards the fella, and the momentum of the punch kind of meant the fella kind of fell over the back of Wally Alves, and then he
I didn't see the punch. I actually thought
neither did I
knocked out from headbutting the floor.
That's what I thought happened. I thought that he maybe got knocked out from either contact with a canvas, or maybe the knee of Wells sort of like scraping the back of his head as he came over the top of him, or what have you. But he certainly made sure of it with a couple of follow-up strikes and put him out proper. He was ready for surgery, was Wally Alves. He was out for a fair while. And what I wanted to say was that guy, Wells,
he's the big muscly Paul Felder's mate, right?
Yeah, really muscly. And he's definitely grief to fight.
Yeah.
But he's a bit of a mess. And Wally Alves is a really tough, I think, a tough debut fight. I mean, he took it on short notice, because when the fight was in the cage, I was like, he's getting Wally Alves on his UFC debut. That's a bit nasty. And then it was a short notice fight. I was like, so obviously this wasn't a scheduled matchup. And he definitely made the most of it, and good for him. And he's a good addition, but he looked messy. He's striking. Again, another guy who squares up badly on his shots, falling in, with after his right hand. If he had to throw a left hook after that right hand, forget it. He can't, because his body, his position is all compromised. I just think somebody perhaps with a little bit crisper shots, maybe a little bit better range, stuff like that, might give that guy a bit of a hiding. But you might have to take a real Hail Mary, slam him right hand in order to finish him, because he's definitely a strong guy, and he's game, and he swings with 100% power. So he's definitely grief, and he's definitely good, and it was a great win. But just I find it hard to like fighters that just look that sloppy.
I agree. I think you've just said it there. He just throws way too much power into everything. Everything is 100%, means he don't set nothing up, doesn't leave himself in good positions for afterwards, whether it's defensive or offensive. He's just standing there. I think he would have lost that fight if it went on for much longer, because he was absolutely breathing himself out with this 100% stuff. It just so happened to work. From that fight, because we've only seen this bloke fight once, I actually think Wally Alves is better. He just got done. and that's just the way things go sometimes. So yeah, agreed. Good addition. Want to see him fight again, but he didn't show much skill. He just showed that he likes smashing people's faces in.
Yeah, you should have a chat with Trajan Gore.
Yeah, I was going to say it must be his mate.
Yeah. So yeah. And look, there's a lot to be said for that. I really rate the fact that the guy went in there, wasn't intimidated. Because Wally Alves is a big, strong lump. He's beaten Covington. He's got a decent UFC record. So he went in there. He paid him no respect. He didn't fight, like we said on the Ultimate Fighter, Ryder Newman just seemed happy to hear the final bell. He didn't fight like that. He was like, no, I'm going in there to absolutely blaze someone's face off. And blaze someone's face off he did. Saying the technical aspect, it was just messy. It was messy. And look, people have been successful with those messy sort of fighting styles before. Matt Brown isn't exactly Mr. Technical, right? He's had a great career. So there is something to be said for that. And that guy definitely packs a lot of explosive power. He'll definitely bang a lot of people out in his career. It just ain't. It's even an entertaining style to watch in many ways. It's just not a style that I get overly excited about personally. So
agreed.
So you know what? So now we've got to keep an eye out on the street for Prachnio. Got to keep an eye out on the street for Wells and Villanueva.
Yeah, and
yeah, he's going to want to knock me out and all. But don't worry, I'll just sink one into his belly.
You've seen the weakness.
Yep.
Let's just say it as we go. It was another good fight. It was still an enjoyable fight.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So the next fight, Shavkat Nomad Rakmanov versus Michael Tractor Prazeres. I mean, blimey, this Rakmanov, he's a bit good, isn't he?
Oh, you like him, do you?
Yeah, very much. I think he's great.
You think he's great?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you might say something like, yeah, but the Tractor's crap, right? You might do. I didn't say you was. You might do.
I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, go on.
All right. I thought you might. Don't know why. But honestly, this Rakmanov bloke, I think he's proper high level stuff.
All right. Well, let me just quickly not gonna say too much about the fight because there weren't too much to say. It was. I'll tell you what that fight looked like to me. It looked like somebody had got one of those Hasbulla kids and thrown them into the octagon.
Which one was that then? The Tractor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost looked like...
It looked a bit strange, didn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like Rakmanov could have done that classic playground thing, just put his hand on his forehead and Tractor would have been...
kept him at bay, yeah.
Windmilling shots and falling short. Yeah, I think he's good, but I'm just going to give you a few names of the bottom of the welterweight division as soon as how you think he's great and just see how you feel.
I think he'll smash Usman's teeth out. It's got everything.
No,
he's got everything.
You're going to go that far already, so I don't even need to bottom of the rank. You think
good fist, good boot, wrestling, grappling, the lot. This guy is brilliant.
You think he can do?
By the way, he beat the Tractor with a rear naked choke in round 2. Just for people that might want to know.
You think he can do Usman already?
Yeah, easy.
Oh, that is okay. Look,
not even hard. That's what I'm saying. Easy.
Yeah, we'll earmark
it. Don't mean. Hang on, no. It doesn't mean that he can get through all the people he needs to get through before Usman. But I'm just going with the champ and going, we're doing.
Okay, well, so there's not much point in me reading out a couple of names then.
Well, yeah, there is because I said he might get done before Usman.
Okay, so Ponzinibbio.
Oh, we do him.
The Leech.
They do him and all.
Bilal Muhammad.
Oh, easy. I've got to watch out for Bilal now.
Vicente Luque.
Difficult. Very, very difficult because that Luque, he can take some stick, that guy. Very difficult. Oh, that's a tough one. It's still doing.
Leon Edwards.
Yeah, doing. All
right. Well, I might have to look out for a couple of slow plodding light heavyweights, but you're going to have to look out for the whole welterweight division now. But fair enough. Fair enough if you think he can do all those people. I'm not saying he can't. I'd like to see
brilliant.
I'd see a little bit more evidence because I don't want to get Johnny Walkered.
Well, yeah, I understand because I know you think the Tractor's crap. And
I don't think, stop trying to get me in trouble. I do not think the Tractor's crap. I actually think he's right. Real cannonball. Real just like a concrete anvil. He just came back off suspension, didn't he? Was it USADA one? Wouldn't be too
Was
surprised.
it? Really?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shock horror. Anyway, I'd have to check that. Don't want to get done for libel, but
Well,
yeah.
I'm just saying that it might not be the best, especially because of the body types. It might not be the best thing to go, this guy is the best ever, when all he's done is the tractor. But I don't think he has just done the tractor. He's done, who else has he done?
I think in the UFC, his only other UFC victory is against the Cowboy Oliveira.
Yeah, well,
And that's a good win, that.
I know, but I don't Oliveira get done by everyone now. Don't
Well,
both the Cowboys just get done now?
Yeah. Yeah. I think he is on that kind of a run at the moment. But
Well, I like this guy.
yeah, I noticed.
I think he's brilliant. Rakmanov all the way. He's absolute powers. He's got all the skills. He's got, I think, a brilliant body type for fighting as well. Good all rounder. Let's go.
Okay.
You all right?
It was for anabolic agents in an out of competition sample for Prelims.
Oh, right. Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
No, neither was I. I thought maybe he just, I don't know, had a contaminated supplement. Yeah, anyway.
It may well have done.
Yeah. Well, he accepted his suspension, so I'm assuming he didn't.
Well, it looked all right. It don't look like much has changed. He's the same as that other bloke, isn't it? That leg lock bloke.
Yeah, the tree stump.
Yeah.
O'Hara's.
Pahara's, yeah. Same sort of structure.
Yeah, a bit like he's like a welterweight Latifi.
Oh yeah, Latifi, big cube.
Yeah.
Right, next fight then. Kennedy, African Savage. Zeshuku. Zechuku. I think that's not bad. Eh?
And Chekwu.
No, I think the end's silent. I'm sure Anik dropped the end. I think it's anyway. Versus Danilo Marquez. Well, I think we've said this before. He's really missed out on a good because he's got no nickname. I mean, he just needs to be the calendar or something like that, you know. So he's really, yeah, he really needs to fix that. I'm gonna say I like the Kennedy. I think I'm just gonna call him Kennedy. I think I like Kennedy a lot. And can you figure out why?
Well, I was about to say to you, I can't because I haven't seen this fight. I don't know what's happened, but
Have you not?
Maybe I thought that the prelims were over after Rakmanov and turned the prelims off.
Oh.
And I ain't seen it.
Oh, that is strange. Okay. All right.
So I got nothing to say on it.
Okay, well, I'll tell you why I like him. They showed, they did show a bit of it on this broadcast, but I saw it on another program. Some vid of him looking after his mum, and I don't know if he's a brilliant bloke, but this vid, and I'm sure that's the effect it's supposed to have, makes him seem like an absolutely brilliant bloke. I mean, this woman, unfortunately, at this stage can't move. She's got something called ALS, and she's just bedridden, and he's absolute qual. You know, looking after her. She brought me into this world, and I'm doing what I need to do. You know, and now I've got to do training and fighting and this. And the vid they showed of him looking after her, it was pretty heart-wrenching, is the truth. I ain't gonna lie. It's made me think, what a brilliant bloke. And like I said, I'm sure that's what this footage is supposed to do. But it did the trick. I think he's absolutely brilliant. Not as good as Chiesa.
No, well, no one's good as Chiesa.
But you know, he's qual. He's qual, doing what he needs to do in life or whatever. And she definitely needs the help and support, and he's doing it. So he's brilliant.
It says a lot about him, for sure.
Yeah, it was good.
It's the right way to behave, and the right way you'd think that everybody would like to think they would behave.
Yeah.
But just because that's the way that people would like to think they'll behave, it doesn't mean that in reality that's how they would behave. So I've said before, lots of people would like to take a moral stance on X, Y, and Z until it hits them in the pocket personally. Then all of a sudden, their morals, become surprisingly a little more flexible. So you never know how you're going to react in the face of stressful situations. That's why I try not to judge in those positions. And
but we can judge.
Other than with Kennedy going, well, he's brilliant.
Yeah, we can judge him. Yeah, based on what we've seen.
Anyway, it's pretty morbid, so let's get off that. So yeah,
Well, anyway, on to the fight then.
You won the fight, and so you must be over the moon.
Kennedy.
Well, they didn't pronounce his name on this little VT then, because how can you not have a clue on what his name, even what letter it is?
Zech Chiruku versus Danilo Marquez. I can't even do his name. It's got nothing to do with Kennedy's name. Look, it was a terrible first round. You haven't seen it, and I'm going to tell you about it. He's from the Contender Series. I think he's had one normal UFC fight, I think.
Yeah, I remember it, yeah. And I didn't like it. It was yeah, he looked like he was I was watching it slowed down at half speed or something like that.
Well, this first round, though, mate, was just Marquez got on his back, but the standing version. So like a body lock, but on his back while Kennedy was still standing up. And that was the round, the whole thing.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really terrible first round as a viewer. I'm not saying that
it's not as the fight and all that.
Well, crap. Yeah, whatever, but I don't care. I'm watching it and it was crap. It was a terrible round 2 because just now happened in round 2, and then Kennedy decided no. Zechukwu decided in round 3 to do something. Now, he got a really good speech from that Saif Saud bloke, I think it was, in his corner. He does quite good chats to him.
Yeah, I like it.
He done real good chats to him. He said to him, look, you just need to go and sort this out. Take some power off your punches, calm down a bit. When you see the opening, then add the power. And in that round 3, Kennedy went out and just literally smashed this bloke up against the fence with loads of punches, not underwater ones, loads of speedy punches. And that was it. So the second he decided to do something, he won that fight. And that's why it was a TKO in round 3 to Zechukwu.
Well, let's hope he doesn't get another fight in the UFC and he makes his money elsewhere, because I can't stand to listen to you trying to pronounce that name for about 20 minutes again.
Well, I haven't heard you try.
Well, I think I said Nchukwu. I don't know if that's any better, but it's better than going.
What happened to the Zek bit at the beginning?
Nchukwu. But yeah, I've just seen the end, and it just looked like the guy just put his hands up on the fence and let him punch him, do 1-2s onto his face until
he just done him, yeah.
Until the ref stepped in. So pretty bad from Danilo Marquez there, I have to say. But
agreed. Yeah. But it was once he decided to do something about it and go, well, okay, well, you're right. Maybe I will just try and beat this bloke up. He just beat him up. Could he have done that in round 1? I don't know. Maybe not. The bloke's tired and all that. I don't know. But I tell you what, Kennedy was tired and all. It was round 3, but he just didn't stop until it was sorted out. So fair play to him. I do a gold sack. Fair play to him. And he won that fight. And that is the end of the prelims. And I'd say overall, they were good.
Well, I haven't seen one of them.
Well, no, you haven't seen 3 of them.
But Rakmanov looked good. Wasn't the most exciting fight in the world, but he looked good. Wells Alves was a decent fight. Pragnio Villanueva was a good fight. Avia Stoyarenko. I know that some people are like, oh, this is brilliant, but it weren't for me.
It wasn't.
And so I didn't like that fight personally. So a little bit of a mixed bag. You're saying that the Kennedy Danilo fight for the first 2 rounds was pretty pants. So sounds pretty middle of the road set of prelims with some good highlights. There you go. Can't ask for much more than that. It's all right, isn't it?
Brilliant. Well, there you go.
Nice one.
That's it then. End of the prelims and on to the main card.
I ain't got anything else to say.
All right, no worries. Well, I'll see you for the main card then.
See you later.
Thanks very much. Ta-ra.